All right. Hi, everybody. So I'm here with Christian Pankhurst, founder of the Heart IQ, and I'm a really big fan of Heart IQ. So I was very curious about Christian and his journey towards this place where he is right now. So if we were to be a real big world tribe, which I kind of believe we are, what is your role then? Who are you here?
I think that's still being defined, as I traditionally started off, just giving seminars and workshops, and then that turned into creating a larger tribe and community. And then there was it feels like there's a shift happening away from centralized top-down leadership, which is needed for an event and a workshop, to actually the community stepping up in something more emergent, where it can be self-guided and self-facilitated. And just the experience we're having here right now at the family retreat at the retreat center is really beautiful, because it's the first event, for example, that the community has created for itself. And I've been invited as a contributor, a participant, a leader, and all of it combined. And I feel that that's my role going forward, is one of ambassador. I have clarity around a vision of what I call Humanity 3.0, and I want to see that happen in my lifetime. And I just don't want to do it on my own anymore. That's been something that's been very clearly not okay for my health, not okay for the community even, because they feel then left out. People then feel like, well, where do I fit in if he's carrying the whole thing?
Yeah.
So, yeah, I feel ambassador is probably the best title I could give.
Yeah.
One that is like holding the torch, clear on the vision, wanting to move this forward in collaboration.
Yeah. Nice. Thank you.
Yeah.
So, can you share a bit more about, for maybe people don't have a clue at all what Heart IQ is or Humanity 3.0? Can you share a bit more about that?
Yeah, it's a language of the heart. So it's a way that we can connect and communicate authentically, that allows us to have deeper, more intimate, more juicy, and I would call more human, while at the same time spiritually connected relationships. And doing that not just with ourselves through the self-intimacy, or couples through the couple intimacy, but also to do that in a wider community as well. So Humanity 3.0 is actually a vision that is built on a philosophy that the environment is the most important part of any individual flourishing. So, for example, on a physical level, the internal environment of my blood, my nervous system, that's what creates health. The environment of a child growing up in a family is not just to do with how healthy the parents are, but the house, the wider village, how well are the parents supported with having friends and extended family and brotherhood and sister. I mean, there are all these ingredients that make communities and families work. And Heart IQ is really an integration of bringing all of that together with a model of communication that helps resolve conflict and helps people get connected really powerfully to their truth. I think, if anything, Heart IQ is about healing whatever is in the way of each of us dropping into our unique expression of our authentic self. So who are we really at the core versus who we've been conditioned to be? I think most of us are born into a world of disconnect, numbness, and then we have role models of our family and our culture that are not really true. So we then put on an act, we wear masks, we develop these false identities. And Heart IQ is about unprogramming, deprogramming it all, and upgrading our operating system to something new.
And I still have, like, I really, I have been in a lot of circles, so I kind of have a vision of what you mean by these words. But could you give like a little example of something which make it more like, oh, that's what he's talking about? Because I recognize for myself in the long periods of time where I did feel disconnected, I I could barely connect with that feeling that was so juicy
Sure.
up until the moment
Yeah,
that I was in it.
I think a clear one is the fact that most of humanity, and nearly every single one of us, has the programming or the belief system that we're not enough. Okay, so this core belief that we feel, at some level, that we feel a bit unworthy, undeserving. We don't always connect to our deepest value of who we are.
Yeah.
So in that, hard IQ becomes a way for us to connect to our worth, our goodness, and to not become enough because we do more. It's because we just connect intrinsically to that part that is worthy. We rediscover our value.
Yeah.
And I think that's a very wonderful benefit. And the knock-on effect when we connect to our goodness and our worth is addictions disappear or lessen. Our relationships thrive because now, instead of just having superficial intimacy, which is built on the modeling of our parents normally, we can now actually have deeper conversations, deeper connections, more meaningful interactions. Another big area of hard IQ is the activation of our life force.
Yeah.
A reconnection to our full emotional, energetic range, a connection to our deeper purpose in life.
Yeah.
So we know how to turn our gifts into something that could serve the world.
Yeah.
A way to, it's also an exploration of how to heal and accept parts of us that have been traumatized or wounded because of neglect or violation in the past. So a lot of the stuff we do in the actual work of hard IQ is shadow work, which is about helping people connect to the parts that they feel are unlovable and to love them.
Yeah.
And that's a really, really powerful component.
Yeah, I really recognize that. That's one of the things that I find so powerful in Circle or by the teachings you do, is the deep love and the deep unconditional space you kind of create and safety you create in a way to really let that deeper stuff that we kind of like think a lot of times ourselves, like, oh no, I don't want to see this myself, and just put it away, and it naturally arises here in such a safe way. And I really I'm kind of an expert on safety, so I was like, as soon as there was I didn't feel safe, I would never show my deeper stuff, and I really feel like circles here are so they're really safe. It feels really good, and it goes really natural.
It is.
Yeah.
It's built on natural human dynamics
Yeah.
and group dynamics.
Yeah.
That
You can clearly
so
see that.
so it's never been taught from a model of theory that's been imposed.
Yeah.
It's very much bring people together, watch how we naturally emerge into these dynamics, and we move with the energy of what's there rather than try to impose a structure to it.
Yeah.
And if I could kind of like label the two primary forces that we're trying to amplify in the work, is access of complete freedom of who we are in the presence of anybody. That is, can we be all of us in the presence of other? Because most of us shut parts of us down because we don't feel safe to go further or to show this, or especially in relationships, we diminish parts of us, or we overcompensate others' parts in order to be liked and all these other things. So freedom to be who we really are, no, even if we're rejected, even if the world doesn't want us, like the freedom just to show up is the first force. The second force is the freedom of love, and that is the movement of love, which is another word for that is life force activation, feminine flow. These are different words to describe the fact that our bodies are designed to move energy and to move energy as love.
Yes, absolutely.
And so not only is there a freedom of expression and a freedom to be, there's also the cultivation and amplification of our yumminess and juiciness and aliveness and vitality, and to grow that as a resource inside, so that when we walk in life, we are walking, talking, breathing, free, yummy, juicy, alive, present, conscious individuals who know how to communicate from the heart. That's what the world needs. That's what kids need to be around. It's what that's how you're going to make money in the future.
Yeah.
You know, everything is connected to your aliveness.
Yeah, yeah.
So,
and I recognize that so much in the sense that after circles, I have felt myself, like, I felt way more feminine. I felt so much more called to step up to my own leadership, my female leadership as well. And I really love it. It's really nice. Yeah. Good, awesome. So one of the reasons that I create these videos is because there were times where I did not feel my life force that much, and I always loved to hear how other people got where they are right now. So this doesn't come out of thin air for you.
No.
It doesn't like poof, you had a center and you were like doing workshops and training all over the world.
Yeah.
So it must have started somewhere for you. And I know a little bit of your story, and I'd love to hear more.
Okay. Yeah, I think the highlights are that, like it is for many people at home, there's always some trauma, isn't there, involved in the story? Some loss, some heartbreak and all of that. I was naturally a very alive, competitive, quite potent child with a very fast and hot temper. So I was born with a big energy and wide emotional range. Parents didn't know what to do with a child that was very expressive in an English family that was quite conservative. My dad never showed emotions, so I learned that it was better to manage. That is, to be in my head, be considerate, to always think before feeling. Feel less, think more. Whereas the motto of Hard IQ is think less, feel more. It's the opposite. So that's why I teach what I need to learn the most. I'm deconditioning my own life and my own programming. So there was that upbringing, but also my father was violent in terms of he would be quick to rage spontaneously without really knowing why in moments, and that would be acted out physically. So he would take that out on me. So of course my nervous system became quite sensitive and vigilant of being attacked. And of course, that nervous system, when as a child, when it's provoked and consistently attacked like that, the system starts to expect the next attack. So when I grew up as a teenager, I must have been putting out those vibes because I started getting into fights, and I got ambushed and attacked all the time by kids outside it. So one big story around that was outside of a nightclub when I was 15 years old. About 18 young kids came out and attacked me and my friend nearly got killed. One more kick to the head would have killed him, the doctors said. And I froze and didn't know how to react to that. And instead of being the hero and saving the day, I just froze. My whole system paralyzed. And from that moment on, my nervous system and my life force went away. I became like a cardboard cutout, quite two-dimensional. And I had all this power, but it was now bound in the trauma and the tension and the unsafety. So I walked around as a numb, quite disconnected young adult. And then I used normal methods of release to compensate for that. Work, sex, alcohol, the whole gamut of things that people do to find a way around the pain. So Hard IQ was born out of a search for my own life force and a search for my own freedom back to the innate qualities that I had when I was a child. I think kids are naturally born heart intelligent. And it's about returning back to that place while maintaining the wisdom of an adult. I think that's a good way of describing it, really. Embodying all the beautiful qualities of a healthy child. I say healthy because often it's tragic, but the amount of times I hear in circle, the amount of abuse and neglect, breaks my heart to see how many adults come in and they talk about as children the horrific stories of abuse, but even the mild stories of neglect are still really deeply wounding for the nervous system. And it explains why the world is the way that it is, and why this is so needed, and why the work with the kids especially is important, because they're the leaders of tomorrow.
Yeah, absolutely.
So that's in terms of this part of my story that is around my personal part. Professionally, I was a martial arts instructor, so I've always loved working with people's bodies, and was always passionate about what could the human body do with the right energy, alignment, training, skill, practice. So I come from what I would call a training practice background, similar to like yoga, in the sense that I don't believe in quick fixes. I believe in practice and training and mastery. So I go down the line of, yes, you might have innate gifts, but unless you're actually working on those gifts and turning them into a masterful skill,
they become more active.
Exactly. Yeah. Otherwise, it becomes almost a gift wasted.
Yeah, exactly.
So I'm very much into training ourselves and disciplining ourselves to bring the best out of us. I then became a chiropractor. There's a strong healing component to my work. And I think the biggest shift occurred when I worked with Neil Donald Walsh, the guy who wrote Conversations with God, when he brought in such a spiritual, profound message, and integrating that with the embodied martial arts and healing arts became a really great sync up. And I soon realized that working with clients one-to-one wasn't enough for me, and I had a natural competency, I should say, to work with groups. I love working with groups in the amplified field. It's so much more efficient and quicker to get to the result. I think for the viewers at home, the model that I think describes what Hard IQ does the most is the 4 directions of joy. I was wondering if I can just quickly name that, because that might be a really good piece for them to get. Because for me, when we talk about, we need to live from the heart, people go, what does that even mean? Is that the heart, the pump that pumps blood around the body, or all these neurons? And no.
Or is it the how do you say it? Almost the new agey.
So for me, when I talk about connect to your heart, it really means connect to your joy, connect to what feels right and true, not good as in yummy. This is chocolate, therefore it's my heart. I'm just saying it feels right and true. It feels aligned to my deepest truth, right? So most people don't even know their deepest truth. So it's the joy that we're connecting to. The purpose of life is to enjoy it. The purpose of life is joy. So if joy is the heart, I talk about there are 4 core areas that we work on to connect to our joyful heart. The first is our connection to the divine or source, this creative, infinite potential where we can just have downloads, connect to inspiration, ideas. It's where flow comes from, and this place of like, oh my God, I'm in the zone, doing what I'm meant to be doing, and I feel supported by life, and everything's good no matter what. It's that vertical, we call it a vertical connection. But there's also a connection to the ground that's vertical as well. This is our embodiment. This is our connection to the earth. This is our connection to our nervous system, where we store pain, our own relationship to our emotion, to what's moving and stirring in the body. And there are a lot of people who emphasize the vertical up, but they forget the vertical down. And these are new agers. Or I should say new age bypasses, I should say. Those who only want to speak new age truth and then forget that there's a humanity, there's a human body and an embodiment that's needed as well.
A life here on earth in the society. In the society.
And then there are people who are completely dedicated to feeling themselves, and they forget about their vertical connection. And these are those who get caught up in the drama of life. It's too human. It's too in the ground, and they forget the light, the brightness, the connection to something bigger. they get caught up in their own little worlds.
Yeah.
You know. So that's the vertical connection, and then you've got this horizontal connection. I think this is where, you know, yoga is a brilliant example of a vertical practice. Meditation, perfect vertical practice. But they're not horizontal. Horizontal is the art of intimacy. It's the art of actually connecting from one person to another or to a large group or family.
Yeah.
And I believe everybody needs to learn more and deeper and better intimacy skills.
Yeah.
So there are two directions for intimacy. There's, of course, showing up and expressing more and being true to who you are and speaking and daring to show and share your truth. And then there's also letting others in, receiving love.
Yeah.
So that's why we call it the 4 directions of joy: up, down,
Yeah.
in, and out. And when you can express yourself, receive love, connect to source, and be connected to your body
Yeah.
at the same time, that's heart IQ. When we talk about what is heart intelligence as a quotient or as a measurement, like what are we actually looking at? We're looking at these 4 areas, like how strong are you in these 4 areas of life? And they need to be developed together, because if you are strong in 1 and weak on 3, it's like a 4-legged stool
Yeah.
that with one leg is really long and it cannot be stable.
Yeah.
So Heart IQ really is an integration practice of the core elements of life. So up, down, in and out is what we're looking for.
Nice.
Yeah.
Awesome. Yeah. Really cool. It's so lovely to hear all those things. Makes me really excited. So, you were doing your sunset year. Can you explain a bit more about that?
Yeah,
What
for
is it?
years I have been an entrepreneur, running my own business and developing Heart IQ as a business. And my primary output, gift, or the thing that I do is events and workshops.
Yeah.
Trainings, retreats. And I'm noticing an imbalance in my life around the fact that going around the world, or even just doing it here locally in the Netherlands, and just doing retreat after retreat, little weekend here, little weekend there, and running it as a for-profit business feels draining. It's hard work. It's not really the model that's now reflects who I am.
Yeah.
So I feel like the sunset year is about ending a chapter and starting something new. So, you know, part of the vision that we have is to start a non-profit for families and kids so that we can create a Heart IQ school. I still want to keep the business, but turn it more into long-term mentoring rather than short-term retreats. So rather than me just going weekend in, weekend out, and it's just this long, drawn-out touring schedule that's really, really hard on me.
Yeah.
I've done that now for 12 years, and it takes a toll on my system.
Yeah.
I'd rather take a group of dedicated people through like a year-long program, like an
Nice.
intimacy university,
Nice.
and really work on helping them go really deep and doing that together in a team. So I think the new chapter is less about only me, more about the team and collaboration, long-term mentoring and deep dive.
Yeah.
And the other emphasis is this incredible place,
Yeah.
the retreat center, and the development of a high-performance wellness resort and spa, so where people can come and heal, whether they experience burnout, stress. You know, I've had so much of my own stress and health problems created through mold toxicity and other types of overburdening my system through giving without knowing how to take care of myself.
Yeah.
I always wished for a place like this to go to,
Yeah.
where I could actually get well and get
Yeah.
better, and actually have people around me who really knew what they're doing with the right diet,
Exactly.
the right exercise,
Yeah.
the right type of emotional work, physical work,
Nice.
and biofeedback. You know, all these different types of healing modalities that really help open the heart and stuff. So I've always had a dream since I was in chiropractic college to create a multidisciplinary wellness center to combine East and West and to bring this holistic approach, but then to create that with an operating system of Heart IQ in as
Nice.
well.
Yeah.
That's really exciting.
Yeah.
So we've got lots of ideas and visions around that, but it can't happen while I am on tour with a weekend event every weekend. After there's no space for something new to be created. So Sunset Year is really about my declaration to say, no more running a business on my own, doing it the same way that I've been doing it year after year after year. Yes, I can, I know how, but is that really what I want? And the answer is no. So if I'm really going to be true to this work and to my own heart, I have to follow it, which means sometimes letting go of things that I am familiar with.
Nice.
So yeah, and I'm enjoying, we just, as you know, you were part of it. I mean, we did a week-long mastery event followed by a 2-week immersion. So that was 3 weeks in a row. Crazy. And now we're straight into a family experience, and there's weekend events now every weekend until the end of October. So I mean, that type of tour schedule is grueling.
Your system.
Yeah,
I get that. Awesome.
But I'm glad that that people want to do the work. I don't have to quote unquote market it as much as I used to, because it's now more word of mouth. People know what's out there now, and they see other people light up, and they're like, well, what on earth is that?
It has a strong pull towards
it does.
It does. I recognize that as well. All right, cool. So let me think. There's another thing that I want to know. For people who are watching this and maybe are not familiar with it, with HeartIQ, or maybe they are, but they are in a space that they want to grow out of, what, as you are somebody who has a lot of experience in development of other people, what would you want to give as a message for people
who are starting or are considering starting or are advanced already on the journey of their own development?
Well, maybe considering starting or in a starting place. As you shared, you were for quite a while in a space where you felt like locked in, and maybe for those people who think like what I recognized myself is, for a long time I thought, oh, that's not for me. For those people, what is it that you want to share with them out of the wisdom that you have been creating here?
I'm in two parts. There's, on the one hand, this compassionate part of me that says all healing has its time. You'll know when it's right. Follow your heart, and if you want to spend another 10 years playing out the same journey and the same games, the same pattern, the same disappointments, the same failures, take as long as you want. And when it gets intolerable enough, when the pain becomes so intense that it no longer is okay, you can't say yes to life anymore, then of course take action on it. But the other part goes, why on earth would you wait to suffer to that degree? It's a frustration I have around humanity's psychology around pain. That is, a lot of people only take action when they're hurting. They won't take action to proactively create health, or what we would call wellness. There are some, but most people wait until they hurt before they go and seek for example, that's why pain-based chiropractors make more money than wellness-based chiropractors generally, because if you advertise yourself as a pain-based doctor, then people go, ow, I'm hurting, fix me, and they expect the doctor to do something. Whereas few people have the insight and the awareness to go, what if I did this to prevent injury, to actually ensure that I stay so healthy and vital and well? It's also harder to prove scientifically that wellness works, because if it works, they don't actually have the problem. So it's hard to measure. So pain is very easy, it's very real. It's like, okay, whether it's physical, emotional, trauma related, but I really wish people would not have to suffer so much before they took action. So there is a part of me that likes to be a bit confronting and a bit of a slap with people around it, and say, just wake up. And where do you see the symptoms show up mostly in life? Well, it shows up in relationship. Like often people are either dissatisfied in their relationship and they're not doing anything about it. It's a quiet, unspoken, or it's distressing to the point where they now are considering or are divorcing or have divorced because they didn't have the tools to really make it work. I found that most relationships don't break up because of a lack of love. It's a lack of flow of love.
Yeah.
And the lack of flow of love can be fixed easily.
Yeah.
And they didn't have the tools. It's a real actual heartbreak of mine, because most relationships can be saved to the point of they're actually really, really great. They can be amazing.
Yeah. Yeah.
And yet, and then the kids suffer and everybody else suffers because of the lack of education.
Yeah. Yeah.
So for these people, I'd like look towards your relationship, if you are in one, and say, are you happy? Do you really feel met? Are you really, is it a healthy relationship? Or is it filled with addiction, distraction, affairs, and all the rest of it? Or silent loathing and quiet desperation? And are you being real with yourself?
Yeah.
Are you just covering, the question that we like to ask is, what are you doing with your pain? Not, are you in pain? Because we know you are. Everybody is. The question is not, are you in pain? It's, what are you doing with your pain? And if you find yourself saying, no, I'm fine, I'm good, go on with life, and it just like seems to be like day after day after day, run-of-the-mill stuff, living a life of where the job isn't quite meeting your deepest longing. We've given up on our dreams a little bit. We don't even know what we want anymore. Life is just passing us by. We don't really care that much. We care a little bit. It's almost like we're coasting. See, these are the symptoms of you need to take action now, is when you realize you're coasting. When you wake up and you're not passionate, and you're not in your purpose, you're not really knowing what your true gifts are, and you're not having an amazing, incredible life. Doesn't mean to say you need to have amazing money and doing big things, but are you living a life that's worthy of you?
Yeah, I really want to add to that, because that is one of my experiences, that for a really long period of my life, I did not even notice, like, waking up was really hard, but everybody was talking about that, like, yeah, I slept so bad, I couldn't wake up. It was a normal thing up until the moment that I started to really find the stuff in life that I felt like really good about. And then I realized, waking up in the morning, I almost jumped out of bed because I felt like, oh, this is an amazing day. This is an adventure. And then I realized, fuck, this has been so many years. I've been thinking that it's normal to drag myself out of bed. And that is what I see happening for a lot of people. And I would love to tell you here that is not your truth. That is not who you really are.
That's not normal.
No, it's not normal. The normal thing is when you jump out of bed, you're excited because you want to go to work, or you want to connect with people, or you want to have a little adventure in your life. So yeah, go for that.
Yeah, indeed.
Yeah, absolutely.
100%.
Yeah. So, thank you so much. Is there anything you feel like this is what I really would love to share more with people, with your community, or?
On that last note, I would just want to say, what you experience is not normal. Most people's normal, to me, is highly distressing and a way that we've got used to because of the systems, the culture that we're in, and the conditioning.
Exactly.
And so I want to just remind people that there is another way to live, another way to love, another way to be. And if there is a curiosity in your heart, if there's something in this that kind of like goes, what is that? Like, even if you're curious to know what that new normal looks like, to take inspired action and not wait until life slaps you, because life's coming to slap you. If you don't take action, it's like,
and it can be in the form of disease,
or symptoms, like whatever,
divorce, or being really unhappy. So
you don't need to wait for you to suffer before you can find your joy and your heart and your worth and your goodness and take your life to the next level. Believe me, you accelerate your awakening and take such a profoundly faster journey than if you wait till you are in a really, really bad space. It's like couples, they rarely seek therapy or coaching if they're doing well. I mean, how many couples do couples therapy when things are good? No, they go to couples therapy when things are bad. That's the worst time to do couples therapy. Why on earth would you go to a therapist when you're in a bad space? That's like hard. That's hard work. That's hard. And you know what? Most people would go, oh yeah, I would never have thought of that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because our culture tells us when we're doing well, keep it to yourself and you don't need support. And I'm like, no, it's the opposite way around.
Yeah.
It's part of a healthy community to have support and not do it on your own.
Yeah.
You don't have to do it on your own. And there's another way. And we're growing this amazing community where we can all be in our hearts together and connect in a really real, authentic way. And if that sounds appealing, to come and join us.
Yes, please.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, that's awesome. All right.
And hopefully we'll see you at this amazing center.
Yeah,
in the
when all
Netherlands
the
one day.
retreats are coming up.
Yeah.
They're they are really good retreats coming up, right?
Yeah.
Which ones is like? Which one is? Do you have a favorite one?
I would say the one that I think is the hot one right now, because most of them are sold out, to be honest. But the one that is the big one that I think is the most useful one for people to get started with is the Insights to Intimacy.
Is it?
Yeah, and that's the one coming up in September the 14th to the 17th. And that's great for singles and couples, and it's a great way to learn about this heart-intelligent communication.
Yeah. All right. Goodbye, everybody.
Yeah, take care. Thanks for listening.